It's news time. Information is power. Be current. The news headline: EFCC operatives invade Gbenga conference hotel, strip, rob and torture guests. The news in full. The armed EFCC agents on Saturday night stripped, robbed and shot repeatedly to traumatize guests at conference hotels, part of a luxury accommodation chain run by former Governor Gbenga in Abeokuta, witnesses said. The officers reportedly arrived just before midnight on Saturday and operated well into the early hours of Sunday morning, witnesses said. They forcibly broke into the guest rooms unannounced and stripped them of any dignity. People's Gazette had in a description that matches the agency's recent descent into conduct bereft civil liberties considerations. Scores of guests were said to have been arrested during the operation, many of whom were accused of being internet fraudsters, even though no outstanding warrants were presented against them. An award ceremony that was going on at the hotel was disrupted, but additional details of the raid remained unclear. The accused, a friend of one of the witnesses, Emmanuel, of being a Yahoo boy, and stripped him and his girlfriend. A witness told the Gazette on Sunday morning. They were also robbed of their money and phones before being badly tortured. Emmanuel, whose last name was not provided to the Gazette, was freed at the scene with his girlfriend. He was not taken away, but we don't know how we can get his phones and money back, his friend who witnessed the incident had said. A video that surfaced online included sounds of gunshots and women scampering for safety, fearing that they might be totally and fatally shot by rogue officers attached to the anti-graft agency. The EFCC has faced widespread condemnation for similar attacks on hotel guests in recent weeks. Officers have been found to raid lodgers and revelers at hotels and nightclubs across the southern part of the country, often without a warrant or acceptable degree of transparency. In mid-September, the Gazette reported how EFCC agents broke into hotels in Abeokuta, causing damages to guests and assets. A woman narrated how she was sexually harassed by the agents, who dipped hands into her vagina and confiscated her iPhone. The EFCC said its officers were professional throughout the operation. Governor Dapo Abiodun has reportedly expressed anger over the latest raid, which residents said could further plunge the state's economy into distress, as guests often avoid a previously raided hotel. Mr. Daniel, who was governor of the state from 2003 to 2011, has for years owned Conference Hotel in Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode and Abeokuta. Loyalists of the governor reportedly stormed the hotel to frustrate the EFCC operation, a witness said, but it was unclear whether or not they were successful. Agents have in the past avoided raiding the hotel to avoid political fallout, but town residents said it was only a matter of time before an invasion would happen, since Conference had been one of only few hotels standing unbreached by EFCC agents in the state's capital. The Gazette approached the EFCC for comments on Sunday morning. Mr. Daniel did not return a request seeking comment about the operation on Sunday morning. And this is the news as the EFCC operatives invaded Gbenga conference hotel and stripped, rob and torture the guests around the facility as a den. Going into the other news now. Bandits who abducted Dambo Osia, the police orderly of a slain former governorship aspirant in Zamfara State, Sagir Amidu, along the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway last Sunday, have demanded 200 million as ransom for his release. Also, abductors of 66 worshippers of the Emmanuel Baptist Church, Kakao Daji, in the Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, have demanded 99 million naira to release the 61 remaining victims in their custody after shooting 5 of them, killing 3 and injuring 2. It was learned that the bandits involved in the policeman's abduction gave a 6-hour ultimatum to his family to raise the 200 million ransom. They reportedly claimed that they were about to relocate to another place where they couldn't make phone calls and would move along with the victims. A Hausa tabloid, Moya Yansi, published in Kaduna on Friday, claimed to have obtained the recorded phone conversation between the bandit and the policeman's family. The newspaper said that the family begged to pay 2 million naira, but the bandit replied that you shouldn't say so because this is a big man in our custody. You are saying what is not possible. The gunmen were annoyed when the family pleaded that they could afford to pay only 2 million naira, and the gunmen expressed their anger and gave the family a 6-hour deadline to pay the 200 million ransom the payment added. This as well is about also related to the Shiruru incident in the southeast part of the country. It is a suffocating and frustrating scenario. Excellence is sacrificed on the altar of mediocrity. People are not promoted in the public sphere on the basis of what they know, but who they know or where they come from. Having said that, I have often read with utter amazement people who try to malign and paint those advocating for Biafra as evil or fraudsters. This is most unfortunate and is often informed on mere hate. The truth is that Biafra advocates are simply those fed up with the Nigerian system and, most importantly, the marginalization of the Igbo, real or perceived. It is therefore uncharitable to say that they are fraudulent. It is ridiculous that while most people will agree that Nigeria is not working, they will in another breath begin to cast aspersions on those who say they want out because the country is not working for them, which is basically what Biafra is about. Here is probably the only place in the world where people call white black and black white because they can't bear to admit the truth. Another unfortunate falsehood is the idea that Igbo wants Biafra so that they will dominate other groups that fall within the area that once constituted Biafra. This is another mischievous attempt to paint the Igbo in bad light. While some of those who advocate for Biafra have continued to draw their map to include former Eastern region, some of us continue to insist that should there be Biafra, it ought to be an exclusively Igbo affair, and in any case, those who often make the hate-informed arguments about Igbo wanting to annex other groups ignore the fact that there are also people in those groups who are asking for Biafra. And at the same time, they ignore the fact that even the Biafra advocates who draw this wide map have often insisted that everyone reserves the right to opt in or opt out. In the final analysis, my point is that while all of us may not agree that Biafra is the solution, it is hypocrisy to pretend not to understand the point those who argue for Biafra are making. You read all manner of hate comments about the Igbo and people who call for Biafra, and you wonder where such is coming from. To summarize, if you ask me to choose between Biafra and the status quo in Nigeria, I would not hesitate to choose the former because Nigeria, as it poses serious threats to my very existence. Thanks for listening.